Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kayfabe Today podcast. I am your host. My name is Eric. You can follow me on Twitter at MTLBroski. And once again this week, I'm here all alone as my son and the top worker of Kayfabe Today are not here. That's right, no Robbie and Drew. They both lost their smile simultaneously, but I'm here to pick up the slack. We're going to have a special kind of show today. I'm not going to spend too much time recapping Raw and SmackDown because it's currently 1:23 in the morning, early Sunday morning, or Saturday morning, that is. I don't even know what day we are, to be honest. And, yeah, I just thought I'd throw this together to have something out before Backlash, which is this Sunday. So this is how the show's going to go down. Since I'm by myself, I thought I'd have a discussion with the people that listen to this show. So on Monday, I put out a poll, and I got a bunch of feedback from that poll, so I'm going to read that to kick off the show. Then we'll go right through Raw and SmackDown with the results of the matches and maybe some talking points here or there. And we'll finish off with some Backlash predictions because that's this Sunday. And we're all very excited for it. I guess Shinsuke Nakamura first match on the main roster, that is. So that should be fun. So what I want to talk about real quick right off the bat of the show is the tweet that Rip Rogers put out earlier this week where he was kind of criticizing the indie scene. And oh my God, the internet went fucking crazy and they lost their minds. Personally, I thought it was a really good troll. I thought it was funny. And I really liked how Randy Orton picked it up and just kind of ran with it. I thought that was pretty funny how he was trolling the entire internet because they were fucking losing their mind. People were going crazy over this shit. I don't know. I enjoyed it. You know, ... dive. Let's move right into the poll question. This week I was thinking about it and I was interested in some opinions. Do you guys think that Raw would have been as popular in the Attitude Era at 3 hours? Now the final vote, it was close, but the final vote was 46% yes and 54% no. Now we'll get right into your opinions. At Hurricane Apollo on Twitter said, back then it might have been a problem, but we would have forgotten about it by now because of how fondly everyone remembers the era, which I think is a great point. There were so many good characters back then, so many entertaining guys on the roster at the same time that I think with the amount of time that it's been since the Attitude Era, we would have forgotten about that and everybody might have remembered it just as fondly as they do today. So that was an excellent point. Dusty of Podunk on Twitter says, third hour is a massive strain both on the company to get enough engaging content and the fans to watch all 3 hours. It's a long commitment. Hell yes, it is. I didn't even make it through the entirety of Raw in one sitting. I watched about an hour and a half on Monday and then the rest on Tuesday. I just couldn't do it. It's just not engaging enough. At Tonkasaw, who I want to get on this show sooner rather than later, he says that yes, literal feces sitting in the wrestling ring in 1999 would have sold some tickets. Hard to argue with that. Wrestling was at its peak. So I thought that was pretty funny. I definitely wanted to read that one on the show. Pile of shit in the ring. Drawing money. Probably would have drawn more than some of the cruiserweights. Oh, hi-oh. Throwing some shade on the cruiserweights. At A Beer and a Game. No, the Attitude Era was built on strong openings and closing. 2 hours of fluff would have hurt it, which is also an excellent point. But I was thinking about this. There's so many creative dudes, and everything was kind of on the fly. You know, their motto, anything that could happen in the WWF, later on the WWE. That was sort of true with the guys going back and forth between WCW and WWE. So you had that anything could happen vibe. Plus you had a roster full of talent that were pretty much allowed to do what they wanted, as opposed to now where everything's scripted. So I don't know. Maybe we could have had a strong 3-hour Monday Night Raw back then. But I think that because of how creative and Vince McMahon try to control everything, it just doesn't work today. And finally, at Rocky Baya. He's got a long one here. When you have good writers and talent who can really go and know what professional wrestling is all about, I say yes, the Attitude Era at 3 hours. Now, the problem is the booking and the content in that 3 hours. He's speaking of today's generation. There's no valid storylines for fans to really get invested in. That's pretty true. I mean, you got Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. It's been a long time storyline. But other than that, is there really anything that fans can really get behind and get excited about? I don't know. And finally, he says, and take a look at all the wrestlers now. They're not that unique like those we had during the Attitude Era. That's another very good point. Everybody's kind of cookie cutter Everybody kind of looks the same. And just think, in the Attitude Era, you had people like the Godfather was basically a pimp. You couldn't do that today. Then you had like the New Age Outlaws, who were the loudmouths, or DX in general. They were like the high school kind of loudmouth dudes, or the college jocks or something like that, like the cool kids on campus. They had that. Then you had Austin, who just didn't give a fuck. You had The Rock, who was like that popular kid, Hollywood type of style, with the catchphrases and all that. That was good. He had a bunch of different personalities and a bunch of different gimmicks all on the same roster at the same time. Just think of Mankind, Kane, The Undertaker, all these guys. They all had something that defined them. And now it's, what's John Cena's character? What's Randy Orton's character? And, I love them, but what's Kevin Owens' character? They're just themselves. And that works for some guys, but when your entire roster is just a bunch of dudes who, could be at the bar with you or, work at an office with you, or they're just slightly more jacked up than you are, what's supposed to catch our eye here? What's supposed to keep us interested? Finn Balor kind of has a character, I guess, when he turns into the Demon, but, that's only for, like, the big game, so it's not a consistent thing. Who's a character? I guess the Fashion Police or Breezango, I guess they're characters, and that's why I think they're getting over. I really like Breezango. I think they're great together. I think their gimmick is fun and it's funny, but they still, they can be taken seriously in the ring. So that's a very good point about the unique characters. And then finally, he adds, the promos, very small number of wrestlers today can cut a really believable, in-your-face style promo. And then he goes on to finally say that for things to sell, for people to buy it, you got to make it sound real, which is very true. A lot of the promos today sound way too scripted for their own good. And at the end of the day, it just doesn't get the people excited, because you can tell the guy, there's some guys especially that you can see the wheels turning in their head while they're doing the promo. So I can get what he means there. Thank you to everybody who participated this week in our fan poll. I think I'm going to start doing those before Monday Night Raw, so check my pinned tweet. I'll have that. I'll leave it up for about 24 hours, and then throughout the week, if you guys want to check it out, leave your opinion on the question. We'll read it out at the beginning or at the end of the show. Sometimes we're going to keep you waiting for it, so you listen to the entire thing, because skipping through a podcast technology that just doesn't exist. So we're going to take a little break right now, give a shout out to a couple friends of the show. You know them by now, the Marking Out and the Shining Wizards wrestling podcasts. But on the other side, we're going to come back with Raw, SmackDown, and WWE Backlash predictions.
If you're not tuned in to the Shining Wizards, listen to what some of our fans have to say about the show.
Yeah, the Shining Wizards, they're the best. I listen to them every Wednesday night. Tuesday night? Oh, I don't give a fuck. I don't listen to them anyway.
Tune in live every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. East, rantemradio.com. It's the Shining Wizards, where it's wrestling talk and talk about wrestling.
This is Marking Out.
Hello, it's Brandon.
And Dave.
And we do a weekly pro wrestling podcast called Marking Out.
And you can check us out on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and markingout.com.
You guys are awesome.
As always.
And we're back. Didn't those promos make you want to go check them out? I think I'm going to stop recording this podcast and go see what the boys are up to over at Marking Out and the Shining Wizards. All right, so let's get into Monday Night Raw results, shall we? Can you hear the excitement in my voice? I'm on the edge of my seat to talk about Monday Night Raw. Like I mentioned earlier, I didn't really make it through the entire show in one sitting this week, so that should give you a pretty good idea of how riveting it was. We had, in our first match, we had Jeff Hardy defeat Sheamus at 7 minutes and 30 seconds via pinfall, which was an okay match. I'm kind of getting annoyed of the Hardys, Sheamus kind of being thrown together every single week. But, it could be worse. It was a decent match. Alicia Fox defeated Sasha Banks at 2 minutes and 45 seconds, which I don't know who thought this rematch was a good idea, but somebody did, and we got one. It lasted less than 3 minutes, which is pretty much how it should have gone. Up next, we had an Intercontinental Championship match where The Miz defeated Dean Ambrose, but at 12 minutes and 12 seconds via DQ. So we all know what that means. Captain Dumb Shit is still the Intercontinental Champion. I thought this was a really good match. And this was pretty much the highlight of Monday Night Raw for me. Both of these guys put on a really good match. The Miz can do no wrong in my eyes. So you guys know me. I'm a big-time Miz fanboy. This is where I tapped out. It was Neville and TJP defeated Austin Aries and Jack Gallagher at 9 minutes and 45 seconds. My God, the crowd was, the crowd shit all over this match. I saw a bunch of people complaining about it on Twitter, rightfully so. But I mean, at the same time, these cruiserweights, man, holy shit, God, it's I don't know. I just can't really get behind them. Can't get invested in any of them really. The highlight of a cruiserweight match is if TJP is in it and when he dabs at the top of the stage. That's the highlight for me. And I'm not even joking. After that, we had Roman Reigns, who defeated Finn Balor at 14 minutes and 30 seconds. And here's my problem with this match. Roman Reigns was clearly, in air quotes, injured. And he pretty much easily defeated Finn Balor, who is, completely healthy. So an injured Roman Reigns defeats a healthy Finn Balor. Hashtag WWE fucking logic. And what was the best match of the night, because it never got started, we had the Golden Truth versus Anderson and Gallows. Now, the reason why it didn't get started is because the Golden Truth is no more. That's right. Goldust turned on R-Truth while he was doing his song and dance, and, nobody cared. After that, we had Big Cass, who defeated Titus O'Neil at 1 minute and 20 seconds via pinfall. But in Titus's defense, he was not ready for competition. He was not dressed for competition. But, sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles. I'm warming up to this Titus O'Neil, Apollo Crews, kind of being thrown together. I like it. So far, it gives Apollo Crews something to do, someone to work off of, because holy fuck, is he one boring motherfucker. And finally, our main event for the evening was Seth Rollins, who defeated Bray Wyatt at 15 minutes and 30 seconds via DQ. Easy for me to say. When Samoa Joe came out of nowhere and started putting the beat down on Seth Rollins, he thought that him and Bray could work together, but Bray Wyatt cannot be trusted, and he turned on Samoa Joe. And at the end of the show, Bray Wyatt had laid out everybody as he stood tall in the ring. Huzzah. The only thing I really want to talk about Raw is the absence of Braun Strowman. Now, we all know he was injured. Now, the WWE said that he would be out for about 6 months. Kurt Angle did this at the beginning of Raw. He said that Braun would be out for about 6 months. Now, what I'm reading online is that is WWE just kind of making the injury seem worse than it actually is. So when he actually returns in 4 to 8 weeks, he's going to seem even more superhuman and crazy than ever before. So that's pretty much all I want to talk about for Monday Night Raw. Nothing really feels, and that's another problem when we talk to about SmackDown. We'll come back to it, but that's a problem with WWE post WrestleMania. Everything kind of seems directionless. Nothing really seems like it matters, and it's just it's been a rough time since WrestleMania, boys and girls. Who am I kidding? No girls listen to a wrestling podcast or this wrestling podcast. Only when Robbie's on. All the young ladies at Robbie's at tracks. All right, so let's just get into SmackDown. The official results here. Jinder Mahal defeated AJ Styles at 15 minutes and 35 seconds via pinfall in what was a very good match. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Of course, there was some interference from the Bollywood boys. That's to be expected now with Jinder Mahal, and I'm a big fan of Jinder's. I actually hope. Well, we'll get to that when we talk about Backlash. But up next, we had Tyler Breeze and Fandango, who defeated the Colognes at 3 minutes and 20 seconds via pinfall. It was a tag team match at 3 minutes and 20 seconds, so what do you really want me to say about it? It was cool. The Usos came out after the match and cut a hell of a promo. I'm a big fan of theirs, and they're kind of, straight out of Compton gimmick. I think it's a good thing, and they're entertaining to watch. And then, hopefully I kind of want them to retain, but I'm also hoping that Breeze and Fandango can take the titles from them just for shits and giggles, just for fun. And then in a non-title match, Carmella defeated champion Naomi at 11 minutes and 25 seconds. I watched this match like I watch porno. I skipped right to the finish. And just like porno, when it was all over, I was tremendously disappointed. And then finally, our main event for SmackDown in a non-title match, WWE champion and sweet master troll Randy Orton defeated Baron Corbin at 13 minutes and 20 seconds via pinfall. Now, see, this was your go-home show. And as far as go-home shows, which is something that's becoming a trend in WWE, God, it was just so disappointing. You kind of had a little bit of build-up at the beginning with Kevin Owens' highlight reel. That's right, he's taking it from Chris Jericho, because since Jericho isn't man enough to stay in the WWE and he has to go play with his little band on stage, Kevin Owens is picking up the slack, and he will be your champion. He will be your host of the highlight reel. So we found that out. AJ Styles came out to interrupt him. They kind of had a little bit of a back and forth building up to their match at Backlash this Sunday. And then Jinder came out and then Jinder came out and reminded AJ that this was not his scheduled guest appearance. It was Jinder's special appearance and that he was ruining it. So that kind of led to their match, which was very, 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 very good. I saw some complaints online about it, but I don't understand. I mean, I there's clearly some people who, no matter what Jinder Mahal does, it's just going to be garbage because they don't think he belongs there. They don't think he should be, on AJ Styles' level. But the guy's putting in the work. The guy looks good. He looks juiced up to the gills, but he looks good from a muscle dummy perspective. It just, it's something different. It's something new. And so far, I don't really see how you could criticize the guy. He's been doing a pretty good job at with the situation that was given to him. So hopefully good things happen for Jinder. But as far for the rest of SmackDown, again, like I said, nothing too exciting. Nakamura wasn't there. Ziggler had a backstage promo to build the hype. That's what I mean. See, Nakamura's not there. He's got a match at Backlash, and you hype the match by having Ziggler cut a promo by himself backstage, and that's supposed to get us excited. No interaction. It's been, 2-3 weeks now that they haven't had an interaction, and all we get is video packages. So it's a terribly built pay-per-view. But, so was Payback, and Payback was pretty good. So, cautiously optimistic for this Sunday and hoping that something decent comes out of Backlash. Now, speaking of Backlash, since we're going to skip right past, quick show this week, guys. It's quite late, but I wanted to get this out before Backlash actually happened, so there was a point of you listening to this. So we're just going to go right into it. Without further ado, let's get into the Backlash predictions. The kickoff match is Ty Dillinger versus Aiden English. I'm not going to watch it, I'll be honest. I mean, I like Ty Dillinger, and to a certain extent, I like Aiden English. It's obviously going to Ty Dillinger, so I'm going to pick him. Up next, we have a Luke Harper versus Eric Rowan match, apparently. I don't remember where this was announced on SmackDown, or if it even was. Maybe they just decided. I'm getting this off WWE.com, so I'm assuming it's right. Luke Harper, Eric Rowan. They fucked up Harper. They had built him up for 2 weeks, maybe 3. It looked like he was going somewhere, and then they did absolutely nothing with him. Between the two, I'm going to have to go with Harper. I think Harper has a bigger upside than Rowan does, and I just like him more. Plus, gingers have no souls, so fuck them. Next, speaking of gingers, wow, these transitions. Are you listening to that, Robbie? Take notes. We got Sami Zayn versus Baron Corbin. Now, I really want Sami Zayn to win because I'd really like for them to stop making Sami Zayn look like a geek. I don't think that's going to happen. And it's even, subtle things. Like on Monday Night Raw, on Raw, Angle picks up his cell phone and he acts all annoyed. And he's like, okay, Sammy, no, don't call me. But, it's little things where they make Sammy look like a complete geek. And I think that's going to continue with this match. So I'm going to go with Baron Corbin picking up the win. Following that, we got a 6-woman tag team match between champion Naomi, Charlotte Flair, and fucking Becky Lynch versus the Welcoming Committee. Wow. What a great name. Congratulations, creative. You outdid yourself with that one. Natalya, Carmella, and Tamina. All right, now let's see. Now, I like Natalya. I guess I like Carmella. And I like Tamina, so I'm going to go with them because I can't stand Becky Lynch. So there was really no chance of me picking Becky Lynch's team. So that was a big waste of time. So I'm going to pick Natalya, Carmella, and Tamina just because I don't like Becky Lynch. And God, I can't believe they made Charlotte a fucking face. Why would you do that? Your best heel in the fucking company, or one of your best heels in the company, and you turn her face. Brilliant, brilliant booking. Really like to shake the hand of the man who made that decision. Idiots. Up next, we got the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match between the Usos and Breezango. See, now this is a match I'm looking forward to, and it's a hard one for me because I really like all 4 dudes in the match, but I think I'm going to just because they've never had it before, and it'd be nice to see Tyler Breeze get a little bit of gold in WWE, I'm going to go with Breezango here. I don't necessarily think that that's who's going to win, but I'm going to go with my heart as opposed to my head on this one, and I'm going to go with Breezango picking up the win and becoming your new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. In another match, and what is probably going to be match of the night as well, the United States of America Championship match between Kevin Owens and AJ Styles. Now, of course, everybody wants AJ to win, but I'm going to go with my boy. I'm going to go with my boy Kevin Owens. The reason being, how am I going to go against him? Did you really expect me to pick AJ Styles? Either way, it's one of these matches, and I've said this before on the show, it's one of these matches where I can really enjoy it because I don't really care who wins. I'd rather it be Owens, but I mean, I'm not gonna pitch a fit if AJ Styles wins. I mean, I don't understand how you could get angry if AJ Styles won, because it's fucking AJ Styles. I think this is just gonna be one of those matches where we can just sit down, enjoy it, and it's gonna be a damn good one. I mean, it's Kevin Owens and AJ Styles. I really shouldn't have to say anything more. So yeah, that's also probably gonna be my pick for match of the night. If there's one match that's gonna steal the show, it's probably gonna be that one. Big, shocking, hot take right there. And up next, what we have, the internet, I'm sure, is very much looking forward to. The main roster debut of Shinsuke Nakamura. Well, in a match of Shinsuke Nakamura versus Dolph Ziggler. Does anybody really think Ziggler has a chance here? Anybody? Go ahead, I'll wait. No? Good. Because he doesn't. I would like it. I'm gonna save that for after. So I think Nakamura is gonna win, but we'll get back to that in just 1 second. And finally, we have the main event: Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal for the WWE Championship. Now, here's where I'm gonna go right back to the Ziggler and Nakamura match. Now, these two matches, the two final matches, the co-main events, if you will, they're incredibly predictable. Everybody is calling Orton and Nakamura to win. Now, out of these two matches, I want one of these to have a surprise ending, meaning that either Ziggler or Jinder Mahal has to win one of these two matches. If they don't, if they go with Orton and Nakamura, then what is the point of watching Backlash? Let's be honest. Everybody's calling it that way. And it was at Unicorn Papa put out a tweet yesterday. I thought it was pretty good. He said, a poll actually, it was a poll, and he was asking, who do you think would piss off the internet more if Jinder Mahal or Dolph Ziggler won? And I got to say, that's a tough one. But I think it's definitely, if Nakamura didn't win his debut, I think Twitter would cease to exist. It would just everybody's Twitter app would explode. It would just be done because the rage from online marks would be unbearable. But I want a surprise. I want either, like I said, Jinder Mahal or Dolph Ziggler to win one of their matches. Because if you go with Orton and Nakamura, you could just see that coming from a mile away. And I do think that a Jinder Mahal win would be a good thing. He's got the nice little faction around him. He's been doing good on the mic. He's a new guy who really hasn't had that main event push before. I'm hopeful for this. So I'm gonna go with Nakamura over Ziggler. And I'm gonna go, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna stand by what I say. I'm gonna go Jinder Mahal over Randy Orton. It's probably not gonna happen. Orton's gonna win, but that's okay because he's a fucking amazing troll on Twitter. So that's all I really need. So there you go, guys. Just a quick rundown, a recap of the week's happenings in the WWE. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Who do you think are going to win the matches? Who do you think what match are you most looking forward to? And let's go with the 3 top matches, all right? So give me your picks for Randy Orton, Jinder Mahal, Nakamura, Dolph Ziggler, and Kevin Owens, AJ Styles. Leave those in the comments down below. And if you're right, I'll shout you out next week on the show. Hopefully Robbie and Drew will have found their smiles by then, because I can't keep doing this by myself. It's very lonely, and I miss my boys. So come back very soon. I got a Walking Dead video that's going to be out by the time this podcast goes up. Go check out a new episode of A Broski and a Hoski. Next week, there's going to I finally got my precious item in the mail that I've been teasing you guys with for the past couple weeks. Finally got it in the mail. So a hero of the internet will be definitely coming next week. I can't wait to get those videos. Are a hell of a lot of fun to work on, so I can't wait to get that out for you guys to check it out. More Walking Dead videos. We're going to have some more Doom videos as well. And I think we got another Broski and Hoski coming out next week as well, so that should be pretty fun. And until next week, my name is Eric, because once again, there's nobody else here. And this has been the Kayfabe Today podcast. Come back, boys.